everyone, welcome back to my channel. So today's cooking video is a little bit different. I will be incorporating some ingredients from my previous meal, which was the pork tips over organic pasta. And I'll be making a new meal with the organic pasta. I thought this type of video would be good to show everyone also a few things that I do, that I sort of recycle food items and I use them in different recipes. So let's get right into it. I have all this pasta left from the pork tips, and 9 times out of 10, what would most people do if they have some leftover pasta? Throw it out. But I'm not going to be throwing it out. There's nothing wrong with it. Nothing has been added to it, so why should I throw it away? It's perfectly good. What I'm going to be doing is making some meatballs. I have some ground pork thawing out, and I have some ground beef. I'll be making some homemade meatballs. Not only will I be using the meatballs with this pasta and some sauce, jar sauce. I don't actually have any tomatoes to actually make my own sauce, but I definitely think that would be a great video next year. How you make your own pasta sauce. Definitely would be a good video once I have some tomatoes grown. Anywho, ahead of myself. When I make my meatballs, I'm going to use all the mixture, and I'll put some away for a future meal, possibly meatball hoagies, which 9 times out of 10 is what I do with some extra meatballs I have. So yeah, I have jar sauce, and after these are pretty well thawed out, I will be showing you guys how I make my meatballs. About 2 years ago, I was in a really nice cooking group on Facebook, and there was a lady that I used to talk with frequently in the group, and she had told me something she did to sort of reuse things from meals. Actually, I had never thought of doing some of these things at that time, and I had thought, well, that's a good idea. Come to find out, 2 years later, that with the price of food ever climbing, and gas, so you don't want to go to the store as often, it makes more and more sense to be able to reuse things from one meal and make a new meal out of them. Why not? It's a little bit different per se of eating leftovers. You're incorporating something that normally you might, without thinking, throw away, but it's perfectly good. Have you ever really looked at the statistics in the US of how much food a normal household can waste every year? It's staggering. It is actually staggering. And we all probably do it to some degree. So, having actually read about this online several times, I started thinking about some of the things that this lady used to do. And I thought, well, you know what? I'm going to start doing this little by little to gradually get back into the habit of doing it. One of the things I did, which actually turned out so good, I made a chuck roast about almost 2 weeks ago, and I used some of the broth, obviously, to make gravy, but I used about 2.5 cups of it to just freeze. I put it in a little plastic container, stuck it in my freezer. When I was making my flank steak, now that was in a food pantry haul, and I didn't record that video. I should have. But I really wasn't sure how it was going to turn out prior. I thawed out that broth from my chuck roast, which was already seasoned, flavored. It was amazing. I added that to the crock pot along with some beef broth. And guys, when I tell you, when that flank steak started coming apart, it was just in long shreds. It dawned on me, oh my goodness, like if I would have known how that was going to actually fall apart in the cooking process, I could have made some incredible steak and cheese hoagies out of that. That will be a video for another time, because if I get another one of them plain steaks in a food pantry haul, definitely I'm going to record that. Like some barbecue sauce and a little bit of steak sauce. That would be so good. But anywho, I saved that broth, added it to the plain steak, and it just made that gravy so much more richer. I have reused pasta that was left over from one meal and made it into another. That's what I'm doing today. Um, I have taken a leftover gravy, and instead of just throwing it away, actually a small silicone ice cube tray, I poured it. May have been silly shapes, but didn't matter. Down the road, when I was going to be making a broth or gravy, I was able to just reuse that way. So little things I'm finding I'm getting back in the habit of doing are helpful. Alright guys, so there is my mixture, and I have 2 eggs, I have some breadcrumbs, I got some parsley, oregano, Italian seasoning, salt and pepper. I also threw in some cayenne pepper, and I had a little bit of shredded mozzarella I threw in, and I used some Italian style grated cheese, Parmesan and Romano. Gonna mix this all up really, really good, and then I'll be forming my meatballs. Now, I don't remember when I actually did do a video in my cooking playlist. I did make meatballs. I don't remember if I pan fried them and then baked them, or if I just pan fried them, or if I just baked them. Since I do need some propane, I'm going to be just cooking them on low on top of my hot plate, big skillet, and just pan frying them, because I don't have any propane yet. So yeah, and it would probably take me about 2.5 to 3 hours to bake small trays of them in my toaster oven. So it would just be so much easier for me to simply just do them in a skillet on medium low, and yeah, just cook them that way. But anyway, that's what I do have in here. I don't always make my meatballs the same. I wanted to say this as well. Sometimes it genuinely depends on what I have left. If I don't have any ground pork, I'll just make meatballs with ground beef. If I say have maybe a cup and a half of ground sausage left in my freezer, I will mix that in with the ground beef mixture. That makes some amazing meatballs as well. Sometimes, you know, you just learn to be a little versatile in what you want to do, and improvising, you know, some of your recipes for if you don't have this, well, I could add that, you know, etc., etc. It really does help, so you don't panic because, oh no, I don't have enough, you know, ground beef, or oh no, I don't have any ground pork. It's always good over time to learn to be able to tweak your recipe should you be low on something, run out of something, you know, and yeah, so anywho, I'm going to be mixing all this up really, really good. I did wash my hands. and I'll be getting ready to roll up some meatballs. Now, I used to make my meatballs really huge. They used to be about, oh gosh, about that darn big. For the sake of having some extra in my freezer for probably hoagies down the road, I'm going to make them maybe about that big. Yeah, I don't need to make them that huge. My kids really used to love them when they were big. Yeah, I don't have any more onion, or I would have chopped up, real fine some onion as well. But, I like to put a little bit of onion in. But, yeah, I used most of my onion with the pork chips. So, yeah, let me get some meatballs rolled. So I have enough meatballs in there to put with that pasta, and I have a jar of sauce. Let me see, where is the empty jar? I know it is Italian sausage sauce. Let me dump some of this out here in a minute. It is Prego Italian sausage and garlic. Now I only used one jar, so odds are good I'm not going to have much sauce left, and that's okay. If I was using 2 jars of the same sauce, I definitely would have sauce left. And I would say after, meatballs are used in the meal, save that sauce. Just put it in a freezer bag, stick it in the freezer, mark a date on it, or put it in a small container and label it. Put it in the freezer. Don't waste it. It can be reused for another meal. My last batch of meatballs, I'm frying up. Getting them about 75% of the way done. They can finish simmering in sauce. These ones are going to be going in with this batch in a freezer bag, and they're going to go in my freezer. Now, I may go to Food Pantry Wednesday. I'm not 100% sure yet, or Friday. It'll be 3 weeks since I actually was at the food pantry. If I go Wednesday, I may get some rolls and stuff. Well, guess what? Then Friday or Saturday on the weekend, I could just get another jar of sauce or 2 and make some meatball hoagies and use up this meatballs from this particular meal. Get a second meal out of them. I also have a few odd pieces of, I think it was 3 cheese or 5 cheese Texas toast. I don't always use the whole box when I make it, so I think there's like 6 slices in it, and I usually use like 3 or 4. I always have 2 left out of each box, but I just throw what's left back in the freezer without the box. So I have 4 slices of that I can use up to go with this. And there is some of the 4 bean salad left as well, which can also be finished up tonight too. And that'll be good. That will actually be, this will be a 3rd night, and we can finish it off the 3rd night. So, yeah. Let me finish frying up these meatballs and getting them drained, and put it in a bag, get a little bit of dishes done up, and I'll end this video. So hey guys, my meatballs turned out really good, and I have a bunch in the freezer. Per meatball hoagie, maybe next weekend, this weekend, they'll be coming up. Who knows? But at least I have them. I'm really not going to have that much sauce left to actually save. So I'm not really worried about that. A little bit I have left, I don't mind, dumping, getting rid of, versus, say, like, the half a pot of sauce. I guess I've done that at times in my life, too, and never gave it a second thought. But lately, I have been more conscious of those type of things, and started saving things to put towards a different meal. Not necessarily because I absolutely have to, but because it just makes sense. Why throw something away like that if it's still good? I think part of the problem is in my lifetime, as I got older, things changed from where you fixed things to where you just bought new things. For example, here's the thought. I remember one of my friends in junior high. Her dad was a local driver, a delivery person, but he had a little shop. He fixed TVs and VCRs, and that was something that he did on the side for extra money. When's the last time you had a TV fixed? I'm going to go out on a limb and say the last time I can remotely think of anyone in my family even having a TV fixed was my grandmother. She had a black and white. When color started coming out, she had black and white TV. And it was just going haywire. And my grandfather was trying to talk to her about, considering getting a newer TV, a color. And she had said, well, if this one can't be fixed. So I'm thinking, I'm going to go out on a limb here and say I was in maybe 10th grade. When I was like 15, 16, when my grandmother tried to get a TV fixed that couldn't be fixed anymore. And so my grandfather went and bought her a colored TV. And, yeah. But she held off getting a colored TV. Like, by the time my grandparents got a colored TV, most of my friends' families had already a colored TV. I even had a colored TV in my room. A little one. Cube one. Like so. I even had VCR. And, yeah, my grandparents were probably the last ones to buy a color TV. A shoe repair. When I was in high school, fry boots. Everybody had fry boots. Dingo boots. Everybody had pair. Well, a lot of people had dingo. I'm not going to say everybody. And they lasted for years. I'm saying, I was 17 and a half when I graduated. My boots, I had my boots up until I was close to 30. And the reason they lasted me for all them years is because every fall I would take them to a shoe repair and get new heels put on them. And the soles would be, checked and everything. I don't even know if people still do that for a live. Well, I doubt if they do it for a living anymore, but maybe even as a little side hustle. I don't know. But think about that, too. When's the last time you had a pair of shoes repaired, fixed? No, because over time, it got drilled into our heads that it was just cheaper to throw things away and buy new ones. And it's kind of sad, because when I did have to finally part with my boots, just where, holes actually started coming in the leather, and I had no choice but to finally say goodbye to them, those boots had 10 years worth of memories, high school, and my kids when they were small, and I just had so many memories with them boots. I hate to part with them just for that factor. And now, you buy a pair of boots in a store and maybe they'll last you, depending on if they're fashion boots or something. You might be able to get 2 years wear out of them, and then the heel will split or it'll come off or whatever. And you have nowhere to take it to get it fixed, so you wind up throwing them away. And it stinks. So, going back to food waste, we're all guilty of it at some point, at some time. in a small way or a big way. And I have to work on something that I do that is bad, and I'm sure some of you have done this. Buying vegetables, and then they get buried in your refrigerator. And you don't make a little note or anything for yourself, oh hey, I have asparagus, I have this, I have that, and I have to use that in the next few days or it's going to go bad. 2 times in a row, I bought okra. My intent was to make fried okra with a meal. Both times I go to make the fried okra, the okra went bad in the refrigerator. So I'm going to have to get myself in the habit, little sticky notes of what vegetables I bought, and give myself maybe a 2-3 day window to make them and use them before they go bad. I probably threw like almost $8 out the window 2 times buying okra. So, I mean, we all probably do something that, in hindsight, you know, it causes us to lose money. So, if anybody takes anything away from this video, it's that just for the heck of it, you know, look in your refrigerator at some of your leftovers and take a moment and break the leftovers apart, whether you have noodles or maybe you have vegetables left over, maybe you have a side leftover, rice or something, and think a moment, how could you make another meal, say just alone, maybe with those rice and vegetables? Maybe just add some stew meat and do something like a stir fry. Without having to go all out and make a, you know, another whole big meal. You could maybe interchange some things from different meals and make another whole meal with it. And it's something that I am trying to slowly, gradually get into the habit of doing, that 1, helps you save money, and 2, it also helps you save time, I think. Because especially if these things have already been pre-cooked already for you, basically, you did it once, you're basically only warming things up to basically put them together a different way for a different meal. You're not actually standing and, you know, making everything all from scratch again. So it would save you time. So, you know, think about it. I mean, I'm sure if you really look around, there's little things you could do and little ways you could make some little changes that will help prevent wasting food that you don't need to waste. So I hope you like this video, guys. If you do, please give it a big thumbs up, and don't forget to hit that subscribe button, also the bell, so you are notified every time I upload a new video. Take care, and I'll see you all on my next one. Bye.